We live in a time where the mind rarely rests. Thoughts race, emotions loop, and we often feel trapped inside our own thinking. Zen stories, short and profound, have been passed down for centuries. Zen masters told short, simple stories that revealed something timeless about the mind, about the self, and about the freedom that comes when we stop clinging to thought. These are not just spiritual tales, they are mirrors, reflecting our deepest psychological patterns and offering gentle ways to return to stillness. Here are 11 Zen stories that speak not to your intellect, but to the quiet awareness beneath it. 1. The Spoonful of Water. A young monk once went to his master and said, "Master, I can't stay in this temple anymore. Everyone here is toxic, gossip, politics, negativity. I want to find a peaceful place to grow." The master nodded. "Very well, but first, do me a small favor." He handed the student a spoon filled with water. "Walk around the monastery with this spoon. Don't spill a single drop. If you succeed, I'll let you go." The student accepted. He walked carefully, eyes fixed on the spoon. Hours later, he returned. "Master, I did it. Not one drop spilled." The master smiled. "Good. Now tell me, did you hear the gossip, the politics, the negativity?" The student paused. "No, master. I was too focused on the spoon." "Exactly," said the master. "When your mind is focused, distractions lose their power. Peace comes not from the world, but from within." This story reminds us, wherever your attention goes, your peace follows. 2. The Monkey Mind. A Zen master once sat with his students and said, "The mind is like a monkey, restless, always leaping from one branch of thought to another, never still." The students nodded. They had all felt that chaos inside. The master continued, "This monkey mind keeps us anxious. It pulls us away from the present moment." Suddenly the master slammed his hand on the table. "The monkey mind," he exclaimed, "is like a thief in the night. It steals our peace." The students were startled by his intensity. "But," the master softened, "it can be tamed." "How?" a student asked. "Through meditation," the master replied. "We do not fight the monkey, we observe it. We watch it swing and chatter without judgment, and in time the monkey grows tired and rests." The students were silent, reflecting. They knew now, peace is not about silencing the mind, but learning how to sit with it quietly. This story reminds us, don't silence the monkey, observe it, and it will quiet itself. 3. The Empty Mind. One day, a student asked his master, "Master, what is the meaning of life?" The master smiled and poured tea into a small cup. He poured until the cup was full, then kept pouring. The tea overflowed and spilled onto the floor. "Master, the cup is full," the student said. "It can't hold any more." The master stopped pouring and said, "Just like this cup, your mind is full of opinions, beliefs, and assumptions. If you wish to discover truth, first you must empty it." The student sat in silence, absorbing the message. "When your mind is cluttered with what you already know," the master continued, "there's no room for anything new to enter. But an empty mind is open, ready to see, to learn, to grow." That day, the student began the quiet work of letting go, of judgments, of attachments, of the need to be right. And in that spaciousness, he found clarity. This story reminds us only an empty mind can be filled with truth. 4. The mind is like a mirror. A Zen master once told his students, "The mind is like a mirror. It reflects everything that passes in front of it, people, events, thoughts." One student asked, "But master, how do we control what our mind reflects?" The master replied, "You can't control everything that appears, but you can choose what you place before the mirror." The students were silent, letting the image settle in their minds. "If you place chaos in front of it, you'll see chaos," the master said. "If you place stillness, you'll see clarity. Your reflections are shaped not by the world, but by your focus." Later that day, as they walked through a forest, the students noticed how the calm water of a pond reflected the sky. They realized the pond did not chase clouds. It simply reflected what was there and remained still beneath it all. This story reminds us we may not control what appears, but we can choose what we focus on. 5. The Dragonfly. One afternoon, a Zen student was sitting in meditation beneath a tree. As he sat in stillness, a dragonfly landed softly on his hand. He watched it closely, its delicate wings, the stillness of its tiny body, its quiet awareness of everything around it. The dragonfly didn't move, yet it missed nothing. It simply was. The student felt something shift within. He began to breathe more slowly. His thoughts quieted. In the dragonfly's stillness, he saw a reflection of what his own mind could be. He closed his eyes, and for a while he forgot himself. He was no longer the observer or the thinker. He was simply present, like the dragonfly. When he opened his eyes again, the dragonfly was gone. But something in him remained changed. This story reminds us, stillness is not emptiness, it is awareness resting in the present. 6. The Zen Monk and the Tourist. A Zen monk sat quietly in meditation beneath a tree. A tourist approached, looking tired and restless. "Excuse me," he said, "I've been searching for a place of peace and tranquility. Can you tell me where to find it?" The monk opened his eyes and smiled. "Yes," he said, "you're already there. Just be here, now." The tourist frowned. "I mean a real place, a quiet retreat, somewhere far away from the noise." The monk gestured to the grass, the tree, the breath between them. "You don't need to go anywhere," he said. "Peace isn't a place, it's a presence." The tourist hesitated, then sat beside the monk. He closed his eyes, listened to the breeze, and felt the warmth of the sun. After a while, he opened his eyes. And for the first time in a long time, he didn't feel like he needed to be anywhere else. This story reminds us peace is not found in a place, but in our presence with the moment. 7. The 5 Monks and Distractions. A distant monastery sent a letter requesting one monk to help with their work. The master of a nearby temple read the letter aloud to his disciples. "They ask for one," he said, "but I will send 5. The monks looked at each other, puzzled. "Master," one asked, "why send 5 when only 1 is needed?" "You will understand," the master replied. The next morning, 5 monks began their journey. As they passed through a village, a messenger approached. "Our priest has died," he said. "We need someone to guide us. We offer food, shelter, and a generous gift." One monk stepped forward. "This is noble work," he said, and stayed behind. Further down the road, a king stopped them. He looked at the second monk. "You are strong and wise. Marry my daughter, and one day rule my kingdom." The monk hesitated, then agreed, and left with the king. The 3 who remained walked on, now more cautious. That night they stopped at a home where a girl lived alone, afraid. "My parents are missing," she said. "Please stay until they return." By morning, 1 monk had fallen in love and refused to leave. 2 continued. Later, a village of skeptics challenged their beliefs. 1 monk felt called to debate the town's scholar. "This is for the honor of the Buddha," he said, and stayed behind. Only 1 monk, quiet and steady, arrived at the distant monastery. He had not been the strongest or the most admired, but he had not been distracted. This story reminds us the path is long and distractions are many. Only focus brings us to the end. 8. The 2 Arrows. A group of students once gathered around a Zen master to learn about suffering. The master began, "When pain strikes, it is like being pierced by an arrow. But then we often shoot ourselves with a second arrow by thinking about the first one again and again." The students looked puzzled. "The first arrow," the master explained, "is the unavoidable pain of life, loss, illness, disappointment. The second arrow is the suffering we create by replaying that pain in our minds through worry, anger, regret." A student asked, "Can we avoid the second arrow?" The master nodded gently. "Yes, we cannot always avoid pain, but we can choose not to multiply it. That choice is the path of awareness." He paused, then added, "When the mind begins to dwell on pain, gently remind yourself, I don't need to suffer twice." This story reminds us pain is inevitable, but suffering is often a choice. 9. Whatever happens, happens for good. Once a wise minister served a powerful king. The minister was known for repeating just one phrase, "Whatever happens, happens for good." One day the king accidentally cut his toe while cleaning his sword. The minister, as always, said, "Whatever happens, happens for good." The king was furious. "How can you say that? Look, I'm bleeding." In anger, he ordered the minister to be thrown into prison. As the guards led him away, the minister bowed and calmly repeated, "Whatever happens, happens for good." Months passed. One day, the king went hunting deep into the forest. He was separated from his guards and captured by a tribe preparing a human sacrifice. They bathed him, dressed him in flowers, and prepared the altar. But just before the ceremony, the priest noticed something. "This man is incomplete," he said, pointing to the king's missing toe. "We cannot offer a flawed sacrifice. Let him go." The king returned home, shaken but safe. He immediately ordered the minister's release. "You were right," the king said. "My injury saved my life. But tell me, what was good in you being locked away?" The minister smiled. "If I had been with you, they would have taken me instead. So you see, whatever happens, happens for good." This story reminds us, even misfortune may carry unseen blessings. 10. God's plan. A man survived a shipwreck and was washed ashore on a deserted island. Alone and exhausted, he prayed every day for rescue. But no help came. He built a small hut from driftwood to shelter from wind and rain. It became his little world, his only comfort. One day he returned from searching for food to find his hut in flames. Everything he had gathered was turning to ash. He fell to his knees, crying out, "God, why? I had nothing, and now you've taken even that." That night he slept under the stars, cold and angry. But in the morning he was awakened by the sound of a ship approaching the shore. He ran to it, overwhelmed. "How did you know I was here?" he asked the captain. "We saw your smoke signal," the captain replied. "It led us straight to you." The man stood speechless. His burnt hut, the symbol of his despair, had been the very thing that saved him. This story reminds us sometimes what feels like loss is simply the unfolding of a greater rescue. 11. The medicine for anger. One day, a disciple asked the Buddha, "Master, how can I control my anger? It rises so quickly, and I regret it every time." The Buddha smiled gently and told him a story. In a small village there lived a woman with a quick temper. She would shout over small things, and her home was filled with tension. One day a wandering monk came to her door asking for alms. She poured out her frustration, saying, "I don't want food for you. I want peace for me. I can't stop my anger. Please give me medicine." The monk nodded, reached into his bag, and handed her a small bottle. "Whenever you feel anger rising," he said, "put 4 drops of this on your tongue. But there's one condition. Do not speak for 10 minutes. The medicine needs silence to work." She agreed. That day, when anger came, she used the drops and stayed silent. In 10 minutes, the fire had cooled. In a week, her home was calmer. In a month, she felt peace she had never known. When the monk returned, she bowed deeply and said, "Your medicine is a miracle. I am not the same woman." The monk smiled. The bottle was filled with water. The true medicine was silence. This story reminds us sometimes the best response is no response at all. If these stories spoke to something within you, leave a comment. I'd love to know what they stirred in your mind or in your heart. And if you found a little peace here, consider liking the video. It helps more people find their way to it. Thank you for being here. Until next time, take care and keep listening to the quieter parts of yourself.